Hey y'all, welcome to Tone Master Tuesday, where every Tuesday I drop a video teaching you something about the Tone Master Pro. In today's video, I'm going to show you my general approach that I take when creating new presets. So if you've been curious about the best practices when creating a preset, this video is for you. Make sure to stick around till the end of the video. I'm doing a free giveaway and you can learn more details there. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is create a new preset. And I do this with all of my presets. Volume management, when you first get the unit, can be a little bit confusing. So the way that I generally approach it is I like to control the volume coming out with the large mixer button on the Tone Master Pro. So with that in mind, what I tend to do is take my preset volume and my individual amp level and increase those somewhere in the 90 to 100% level. So that way I can easily make adjustments on the fly using this big knob versus going in and making fine-tune adjustments. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and set my preset volume up. Now for this video, I don't really have a specific tone that I'm after, if that makes sense. So we're just going to grab something I've never used before on the unit. Let me see. I've never used the Jubilee. Let me hear it. Yeah, this kind of reminds me of, we'll start here. This reminds me of like classic rock all day. So this is what I'm talking about with amp level. Amp level is the actual volume of the amp that we're hearing. It's not going to add any gain, if that makes sense. Cool. Let's see. When it comes to dialing in an amp, it really depends on what you're after. Now, something to note is that I am on the bridge humbucker of this Ibanez guitar. These pickups, even though it's a humbucker, it's going to be a little bit warmer than a single coil. These Ibanez, they're just so clean and spanky. Versus like the neck. Like the neck pickup on this guitar sounds like my 335 bridge, you know? So this is a very bright sounding guitar. So I can add some warmth to it. You know, treble's already pulled back here. I'm going to go ahead and push mids a little, and I'm going to push bass. Nothing too crazy, but remember how I just described this guitar? When you understand that, then going into your EQ section makes a little bit more sense. Because I tend to like a warmer humbucker. You know, this isn't a single coil guitar, it's a humbucking guitar. So I want you to know that, if that makes sense. It's definitely got some twang to it though. That's the coil tab. Alright, let's take a look at the cab section. So after I get my amp settled in, that's pretty much where I go to next. 20 hertz, way too low. Way too low. You know, I talk about this in, I have a Tone Master Pro course that if you're interested in, I'll talk a little bit at the end. But in that course, one of the things I show is the entire EQ of a band, like in a mix. And you need to understand, when you start getting into those low frequencies, we're competing in space against bass guitar and kick drum. And those two things are really going to drive your track. You don't want to compete with those. You want to stay in your lane, so to speak. So I feel like a big disconnect for guys who are getting into the modeling space is that they're trying to take their analog rigs and force it into a digital standpoint. But what you need to think about instead is, like, you need to be thinking as a music producer. You know, what we're doing here is we're really crafting studio level tones. So that's amazing. But that's a completely different world than just buying analog gear, going to a studio, and having someone else take care of it for you. And so just keep that in mind. That's like a common thing I see is like people don't understand why we make certain cuts. It's because it's all about the context of the mix. Every time I'm playing guitar, I am usually, especially in this phase of my life, I'm mostly doing studio work, you know, writing and recording songs for different projects. So it's more important, I would say, probably in that context, because when you're playing live, you know, you're at the grace of your sound engineer. It's just like, I just really encourage y'all to try to think about this from a music producer standpoint and not just it's just a guitar in the room type thing, because it's not. That's kind of like a big takeaway from digital modelers. All right, so here's the thing. With this, I want a condenser mic. Condenser mic is just going to add a little bit of warmth, and I'm going to pull it about an inch away. Yeah, we're sounding pretty good now. All right, I'm just going to leave it there. Probably one thing I'm going to do is add in a Mythic drive. I'm going to pull my gain back. I'm also going to pull my treble. Listen to what it sounds like without it. Versus. This is just the best pedal in the Toolmaster Pro. I use it all the time. All right, so let me think about this. If I'm doing a classic rock tone, I probably don't need much more than that. Yeah, so let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and save this. We're going to call this classic rock because that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this. So let's go ahead and save this as a scene. I think this needs to be saved as bass. Well, let's do this. Let me finish building out the entire rig, and then we'll set up our scenes. That's kind of like a best practice that I've been doing. Because otherwise you got to go in and update everything. All right, there's a couple of things we could do here, but I think for the sake of this video, I'm just going to keep it simple. If you want to see more intricate setups in terms of your signal path types, I cover that in my Toolmaster Pro course, and I have plans, like it's on my content creating radar to kind of show you some of this stuff on YouTube. So that's coming depending on when you watch this, but if you just want instant access, check the links below. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in a reverb, and I'm going to add in a delay. So the idea is I want to have my good rhythm tone, and then I want to build a decent lead tone, and then we'll probably just keep it there for this video. So for lead, I tend to enjoy this dynamic delay. We're going to have to dial them both in, but just so you can hear the difference. I'm not going to do that. So you might be curious, hey, Damion, why are you doing a split signal type like that? Great question. Glad you asked it. I like to separate my reverbs from my delay. This is something you can't do in the analog world. I mean, maybe you could, but it'd be really expensive. But in the digital world, it's as easy as a click of a button. So basically, I just don't want my delay trails to hit reverb. I just want my guitar signal to hit delay. It's not a bad idea. Like when I had my 65 Deluxe, and that was the only thing I ran delay into reverb, and it's not like the end of the world, so to speak. I just find that, you know, doing a lot more production these days, it just keeps my mix from getting muddied. And it just makes everything just sound a little bit cleaner. Take it for what you want. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this decay way, way back. If you want to hear what this pedal's doing, turn your mix all the way up. That's just guitar. This is just reverb. Tone back just a hair. Listen to this delay. It's over the top. So I'm just going to dial it back to like 35%. And then for this, I kind of keep it around the 25 to 30. You could probably boost it up a little bit more. Yeah, and honestly, I might even boost it up more. I know I said I usually keep it low, but this is a lead tone. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's probably the highest I've probably ever ran that. I just think it works with this amp. All right, let me hear the delay now. Honestly, God, the default settings are great. Yeah, dude, that's good. That is good. That's money. All right, one other thing I want to add. I'm going to stack 2 overdrive pedals. This is common for lead playing. Sorry, I don't mean that. What I'm probably going to do is just this green box, and I am going to turn the drive down and the level up. Sounds like I need to tune up again. Yeah. Weather changes, man. It's getting my my guitar all over. So yeah, I like how this sounds, especially for a lead. And that's like a simple trick. You see this a lot in metal, but I tend to do this with some of my lead tones, and like, especially in the rock space. You know, whenever you pull your drive back and your level up, it's basically like, it's kind of like acting as a gain stage, if that makes sense. So we want to boost our gain without adding too much color and too much distortion. People do this in the analog world a lot because the way that it's hitting those tubes, it's causing oversaturation, and it just like kind of makes them come more alive, if that makes sense. The cool thing about all modelers today is that they pretty much have nailed how tubes react, at least in like higher end gear. So you can do the same thing and get away with it. I mean, like, listen to that. That's rock and roll, baby. Yeah, it might be a little too heavy for that Skinner song, but definitely not for the... Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. All right, so that's pretty much, let's just say that that is just this rig, all right? And I'm just going to keep this rig as is. First thing we need to do is we need to set our baseline. So I'm going to go ahead and turn all this off, and we're just going to run it dry. All right, so that is going to be our baseline. Let's go to scene. Let me think. We'll set up lead. Go to preset view. And the reason why I'm doing that is because now we have our standardized baseline. Kind of like, gotta go. It's kind of like, I don't know if that made sense what I just did. But you create your baseline, and then you create a new scene, and then you create that scene. So here's our lead scene now. And what I'm going to do on the unit is I'm going to go in and just first save this. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the lead scene. And now you can see this is my bass. And then let's do this. Let's do one more scene just so I can show you that again. So what you want to do is you want to keep your standard bass, your bass scene. Like, this is the default scene if I hit off of a foot pedal. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, I'm going to assign this pedal to be, where is it, scene. And we're going to call this heavy tone. Sure. Okay. You can name it whatever you want. That's the hardest part of creating a scene. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on. So now that heavy tone is just... save this. So if I click off a heavy tone on the unit, I can turn it on. Yeah, see, that's where I'd probably want to turn that off. I'm doing like... That sounds good. All right, well, hey, I hope that was useful showing you guys my process. There's a million different ways of skinning the cat, but that's typically how I go about doing it. You know, the biggest takeaways I want you to get from this video is one, volume. Volume on the Toolmaster Pro is kind of a pain until you figure out what works for you. What I showed you is what works for me. And for those that are asking, right now I've got padding on my interface, so I'm running a little bit hotter than what I usually would. So right now with the preset volume and everything up, my master out is at 69%. Nice. When I was playing with the Southern Rock Band, I would have to keep my preset volume down at, or my master out at like, I think it was like 15 to 20%. And that was good, you know, especially because with that, I was running directly into the PA. He didn't have a mixer yet. You know, man, just don't overthink it. If that's where you gotta be, there's no problem with the master out being that low. And again, the reason why I do that is because it's just easier to make adjustments on the fly with this big knob than it is going in and changing preset volumes. So that's why I do it. But again, you can do it any way you want. The only word of caution that I would have for you is, one, if you're getting ready to gig digitally, I would really recommend you stick to like one, maybe two presets. And then within those two presets, you need to go through and volume match one by one. Make sure your scenes are the same volume and your presets are the same volume. So with that, that's probably where one preset might be 98% volume and the other one might be 87, because different amps and different stuff on here is different levels. But it takes time, right? Because you got to go through and manually do all this and trust your ears and build trust in your ears, which sometimes can be the hardest part of any piece of gear. So besides volume management, the other thing that I really want you to take away from this video is how I stacked overdrive pedals to get a better, fuller lead tone. And also a little bit of parallel programming. Nothing too crazy in this video, but just showing you how to separate reverb from delay. The other thing I showed you how to do is how to dial in a really good reverb tone using the cloud reverb. In my opinion, that the reverb section is kind of where the Toolmaster Pro is weak right now. For if you like really good reverbs that you're going to get out of like Neural DSP plugins or the Fractal universe, the cloud reverb is probably the closest. But I don't know, man, everybody's ear is so subjective, so I could say that and you might think the reverbs on the Toolmaster Pro are the greatest thing. So trust your ears, don't listen to me. But I will say that if you're interested in learning how to really maximize this unit, understand things like how to dial in an amp, what is EQ, how does compression work, what pedal order should I put my pedals in, I cover all that and so much more in my Toolmaster Pro Mastery course. You can find the links to that below. If that's not your thing and you're not interested in joining a course, I have a free giveaway for you. I'm giving away what I call my Tone Bible. It's about 35 pages of just guitar tone, where I talk about how things like hand pressure, finger pressure, pickup selections, how humbuckers are different than single coils. All that is free. If you really want to be an overachiever, you can get both. You can learn a lot. But hey, friends, as always, I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out. Let me know one or two things you're grateful for in the comment section. I'm grateful you guys are here. I'm grateful there's an audience of people who care about this nerdy stuff. And I'm just really grateful to be alive. I'm grateful I get to be a dad here in May. So with that, I just want to say thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.